Everybody, welcome back to Car and Driver's very professional video cave setup. I'm Carlos Lago.
I'm Casey Colwell.
And we're talking about Casey's experience driving for Lightning Lap this year. Now, Casey, you've driven a lot of the very fast cars at Lightning Lap, right?
Yeah, I have, but it's kind of, in a sense, that it's easier because you don't have to manage the brakes as much because the cars kind of have the performance. So, in one sense, it's easier, but then, of course, it's obviously going faster is more difficult. But yeah.
Some of the highlights were like Porsche 918.
Yeah. So Porsche 918, Viper ACR, that was a good one. The 911 GT2 RS, the Senna, a couple other McLarens, a couple other Ferraris.
So we're getting into kind of the real like belts and suspenders cars, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's jump into it. We're going to start with the Blackwing duo. So the CT4-V Blackwing is the first one up. Tell me about this car.
Well, it's I think we've covered these things kind of extensively at this point now. But
yeah,
this is the smaller, the two of these Blackwings that Cadillac says are going to be the last gas-powered sedans from the V division. And quite frankly, these, as far as V cars go, they have never been better.
Yep.
Like top to bottom, there's not a lot to dislike about these cars. Like the interior is kind of lame, but
it's a typical Cadillac, right?
Yeah. But I mean, it's not something that it's easily overlooked with how good these things are to drive.
From a performance standpoint, though, all the great GM go fast stuff. So nearly 500 horsepower, 10-speed automatic in this one. But you've got the active diff, you've got the active traction or the performance traction management, all that stuff working for you. What were you using? PTM?
Yeah, I think this was in. I think it was in PTM race.
I heard it right there.
So yeah, you can hear it come in and out. And I can't remember. It was in PTM race, and I kind of got into this car a little late in the game. Somebody else had been assigned it, and then as we're coming up here through the S's, which is one of the obviously it's fastest corners on track pretty much. But this corner kind of caught somebody out, spun around pretty good, and off into the left. You can actually see some of that right there. So he was kind of a little gun shy about the car after that, which is expected, totally understandable, and especially just with the time crunch we're on. And I had driven this car at VAR on the launch, so we kind of just swapped some cars and jumped in it. So,
what are you liking about this so far in this lap?
What am I liking about the lap?
The car and the lap.
Yeah, the car just kind of speaks to me.
Yeah,
it kind of speaks to everyone who drives it. It's not really a car that puts a, it's not a car that you really have to fight to go fast. And even if you're going moderately quick, you still get a lot out of the experience. You get the sensation of what the car is doing, what the back end's doing, like there, and it's just a really pleasurable thing to drive, and especially on a racetrack.
We had also one of its closest competitors here, the M3 Competition X Drive, and this was just slightly slower than it, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's the BMW for sure has it in the engine department, I mean, I think it was a pretty good advantage on this. I have to look at my notes here, but it was so this was like about 142 miles an hour on the straight, and the M3 was almost 150.
That's a big difference.
Yeah, 8 miles an hour is on the straight is tough to make up, but it was just a couple tenths, right? Something like that difference. So
if I recall correctly too, like the big difference seemed to be the M3 was able to basically do whatever the CT4 could in the tight stuff, and then on the straightaways it would just use that horsepower advantage, right?
Yeah, on the straightaways, but the one big advantage would have been back on the in like kind of coming up the hill, like we call it the infield, but it's like the part of the north course. You're coming back up the hill before roller coaster. I think the Cadillac was like 3 or 4 tenths there. The Cadillac guys ran there, and I think they ran a 52 something.
Okay.
What did I run? Was
55,
it 55? Yeah. So definitely a little more time in it, and it's one we will probably have back for that reason. simply because we kind of lost a day
Yeah, that's
while they were
right.
fixing a car, and so it's one we will be inviting back.
And that actually segues us nicely to the CT5-V Blackwing, because if we were slightly off what Cadillac's time was with the 4, you actually beat what they got with the 5, right?
Yeah. Just barely beat him by a 10th, but I'll take it. And this was not. I still haven't watched this because I know how ugly this lap is.
Yeah, you called it a really ugly lap. Right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, part of that is the guys at GM, they're telling you like, yeah, the car will do it, the car will do it. So having them kind of there as cheerleaders kind of helps for the confidence and
cheerleaders or ball busters?
A little bit of both, I guess.
It's a fine line, right?
But no, it's mostly cheerleaders, and they're into what we do.
Sure.
And it's great to have them down there because you always get good stories.
But when you said about doing what you thought it could do or what they thought it could do, the challenge I remember specifically was the brake pedal, right?
Yeah. So both the CT4 and CT5 have it's not a vacuum boosted brake system, so it's basically called brake by wire. You can and I just couldn't, especially at the driving. I didn't have this experience the first time I was on track with it, but this time it was just the pedal just seemed really wooden. Not a lot of feedback, and it's into turn 1 is where it's really kind of spicy when you're going into turn 1 at. What does this one carry? This one carries 154 miles an hour.
That's cooking.
Yeah, and the pedal when you just don't have that a confident brake pedal, it makes it tough when you're trying to shave tenths because so much of the time is in brake, and you can just
And that shows up here, I believe, where you're.
Yeah, I probably So I start cutting in because I didn't think it was.
There it is.
See, but so I kind of cut in, and normally I wouldn't double apex that corner in a front engine, a big heavy front engine car, but I kind of did that just to try and lengthen the braking zone, just because I wouldn't have made I don't think I would have made it if I tried a late apex, or I probably would have bailed out of it. So that was just probably mostly me just committing to it. But that's PTM coming in, but. But they said it's faster with PTM in race and not full off, and
really,
both this and the CT4 were pretty. This is the part I was talking about, the coming up the hill back to roller coaster. They both felt real similar through all this, and it's just the V's just got a lot more engine behind it.
What were you playing with in the center console there? Do you remember?
No, I don't. It was probably some kind of warning that came up. Yeah, okay. And that was, I kind of blew it there. If I hadn't have blown that, this lap would have been a couple of tenths quicker. But
yeah, if I recall right, if you moved if you eliminated that braking error, right, it would have been faster than the AMG GT3.
It was like half braking and half, but it was PTM cut in real hard there on the exit on the left, and if it was just moved. Even if we just moved it, the start finish up to further up on the straight, you wouldn't see that big speed difference.
You got some choice words here.
You didn't make that easy, kid.
Yeah, I was going to say. I think it was probably on the back straight. I think I basically was just holding my breath the rest of that lap, because that's kind of one of the spots on track where you're just like, yeah, okay. If I get past here, the rest, no real danger zone.
Right. So let's move on to the quickly escalating serious track cars here. Not that the Blackwings are not, but now we're getting into some real machines here. Starting with the 911 GT3.
Yeah, this is almost 10 seconds a lap quicker, so it's
You see it immediately too, just in the video, how much quicker this is on track. That may be because the roof is lower too, but this thing looks serious. Sounds awesome too.
Yeah. There's the GT3s just keep to seem getting better and better. With age, despite the 911 kind of becoming more of the base 911 becoming more of a GT than the pure sports car was 20 years ago. But It just sounds so insane.
It just looks so cool.
That's what I mean.
So
It's
great,
like it's like engine or chassis.
Yeah.
Like which one? This one has
both, right?
both,
Yeah.
and it's hooked up.
It's one of the few vehicles here on Cup 2Rs, right?
Yeah. So that's it's a homologated tire. So it's an N N0 spec tire, dealer installed thing. But I mean, it's the set of them's a little over $2,000 bucks.
Jeez.
Yeah, which is obviously it's a lot of money for tires, but if you want this kind of performance,
That's what it costs.
I mean, it's a big tires is a monster.
Do you remember how many we went through this year?
I think I probably only I try not to abuse the the tire vault, but I think I only went through. I think I only used two. There was a set on the car that was like scrubbed in, and then I think I just used a new set on Wednesday and then a new set on Thursday. So 2 sets.
Okay.
And then this is a car. This car turns so quick.
Yeah.
And turns so well that you can double apex it and really gain time there.
Yeah, I mean, just watching the video, it looks like this is one of the few cars here that has that kind of front end bite that you can just throw it in.
Yeah.
It allows you to really play with your lines and be more aggressive in that sense. This turn always feels like it takes forever, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I was a little bit wide there, but it was pretty much a wash on time.
Thought I heard the car say something. Is like the voice.
It probably was talking.
Yeah.
A lot of the cars talk the whole. Yeah, there it's talking. It's saying something, and it could be. Sometimes it's like tire pressure monitors.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's saying slow down because the pressures are too low for the speed you're going.
Just what you want while sitting the second fastest lap of the experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
not as bad as McLaren's when you put track tires on.
Yeah.
They beep and bang at you the whole time, and it's every time I get one I'm like wait what and then you're looking around trying to turn it off, but you can't.
So this is just getting on my notes 16th 911 that's been a lightning lap, but the second quickest ever.
Yeah,
which is pretty incredible.
Yep, yeah, and it's the fastest naturally aspirated car I've ever ran, I mean the only one quicker is the GT2 RS, which is that's 700 horse, 690.
Yeah, 700 effectively, right?
Well, they changed it, which is like a whole other conversation to have, but they. The first model year it was 700, and then the next model year it was 690.
Yeah.
And that just has to do with metric horsepower. And
it's a 3% difference or something like that, or.
Yeah, I mean it's but it's effectively the same.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I liked your little love tap at the end on the dash. Was that just out of excitement?
Oh yeah, that was thank you. That was you're a good car.
You're a good car.
You're a good car, Charlie Brown.
Right now we have the fastest car of the whole event, and how could it not be the Mercedes-AMG GT Black Series? When it comes to cars that should be quick, this is it, right?
Yeah. This is, this car is hooked up. And it's when coming up to speed on something like you compare this to, pretty much anything else, and it's always interesting because I don't like to get in a car and just go this fast on a first lap. I mean, I think my first laps out were probably like low 250s.
Okay, that's still cooking.
Still cooking, but 13 seconds is
yes.
Obviously a ton of time on a racetrack, and I just don't like being surprised in a car.
Yeah,
and I drove it for like did how many ever stints did maybe 3 or 4 stints in it on the first day, and came back in, and I made Tony Quiroga go out in it, and I said, tell me if you can find some understeer, because it's something I genuinely could not find on track, and and he came back and he was like, no understeer.
Casey and Tony and the quest for understeer.
Yeah.
They're going so fast through the LSs.
Yeah. Yeah, it's yeah.
Oh my god. And so 720 horsepower, Michelin Cup 2Rs.
Yep.
flat plane crank V8, like active aero too, right? Like
Yeah,
everything.
it's got an air brake in the rear. I mean, it looks like a Fokker triplane in the rear because it's like wing and then another wing and then a little spoiler and then it's got a real diffuser. So there's four things working downforce for you.
It's got the retractable front splitter too, right?
Yep,
like,
yeah,
this
yeah.
thing is insane.
Yeah, and the tires too. This was a first. It was a first for Michelin, as far as we know, and as far as everyone I've talked to at Michelin. But they homologated 2 tires for it. So there's basically there's basically a soft compound and a hard compound.
Wow.
So and this was the soft compound, which is going to give you better peak performance.
Yeah.
But obviously, and then a harder compound. So basically, so if guys are going to a track day, they can put the hard compound on and run.
Last of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you're not eating through them and
in a couple stints. You got a qualifier set on right now.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Karl Heinz from
Mercedes
AMG.
Tech,
He always comes with a car and he had like tire warmers on.
Oh yeah. This thing was fully prepped.
But
I'm shocked at how loud it is inside the car versus how quiet it was outside.
yeah, I wore. It's funny. We talked about the car talking to the Porsche talking to me. I probably didn't even hear that, or I heard a little bit of it because both this and the GT3 I wore earplugs in.
Yeah.
Just because it's too loud in the car. On the outside of this car, it just sounds. All you hear is like whoosh.
It could be an Accord passing by.
Yeah. I mean, I think the IS 500 was louder, basically, louder going by.
But that is an incredible lap time, closest to the McLaren Senna you mentioned previously, right?
So that's the second quickest lap time we've ever ran.
Yeah.
And it's about 0.8 quicker than the GT2 RS, and but the Senna's kind of a whole different breed because it takes all that aero, but then it also picks up a ton of speed. I want to say
way more power. Right?
We have way more power, and it's more active aero. So the Senna's got stuff moving in the front, and so they can really trim it out on the straights. And I want to say the Senna did close to 170 miles an hour on the straight. And
yeah, you're getting close. To
if not over 170. It was the 765 LT. I think that's the fastest on the straight that we've had, and I think that was 176. So which is just haul in the mail on a track like that.
Alex, our producer off screen, is shaking his head at those numbers.
Yeah, it's yeah.
What do you hope to see next year? Do you think we're going to beat that?
I know Karl Heinz is going to try really hard to get us an AMG 1.
Okay. Oh wow. Okay.
That's exactly what that. Yeah.
Jeez.
But we'll see. But it's if that thing even launches in time for next year. But yeah. I think there should be some. There's going to be some cars to challenge. I don't know about the 37, but there'll be cars in the 30s for sure.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you for your insight. It was great to watch these cars, and these stuff's just incredible. If you like what you saw, hey, tell us in the comments below. Also, tell us what you want to see at Lightning Lap this year. And hey, give us a like and subscribe too while you're at it. We'll see you guys next time.